We are a little more than 24 hours away. Kickoff from the real Death Valley. LSU and Florida, renewal of one of the great rivalries in the SEC and in all of college football. It'll be Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath on the call. Molly's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Molly, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Just enjoying Baton Rouge. Finished some meetings with Brian Kelly earlier today. Went over to the stadium for some TV responsibilities. But, you know, we're all just waiting for tomorrow night. When the sun goes down in Death Valley, it's going to get so wild there. And some of my favorite memories are doing games here in Baton Rouge. So I'm so excited for this one tomorrow, especially because it's a rivalry game. And this is a rivalry where you never really know what's going to happen. There's been a weird history in recent years of just crazy things happening during this game, and I expect tomorrow to be the same.
Who throws a shoe, honestly?
Who's going to throw a shoe? It might be me.
Hit me with a memory. If you got a great Tiger Stadium memory, what first comes to mind?
Well, I was thinking about last season. I was here for the Ole Miss game, and that's when we saw just some late-game heroics from Garrett Nussmeier. And that was a game where they trailed the entire game until the very end, until that final play. And so that was just an electric atmosphere, just such an incredible experience. And I also met Shaq that night, and he photobombed me during one of my reports. So it's like there's always some crazy stuff going on, but that was definitely one of those games that I'll always remember. And I think that tomorrow is probably going to be similar. I think a lot of people think that, you know, LSU's a top 5 team, number 3 team in the country. They're going to blow Florida out of the water. I don't think that's true. I think this is going to be an evenly matched game where I don't know if it'll come down to the wire, but I think it'll be closer than people think.
This is a game that usually delivers. Historically, it has. You said you got to visit with Brian Kelly today. I'd love to know your impressions of Brian Kelly, having been able to cover him for as long as you have in your career. But what are your impressions of Brian Kelly today in year 4 at LSU?
I think that he has heightened the expectations within this program. Obviously, the expectations are to win a national championship. After 2019, that kind of fell away a little bit, and he's gotten back to that point. I think a big part of that was hitting the transfer portal, getting all of the depth and veteran experience that he got this offseason. And his pitch to all of those players was, I don't want you to come here to try to improve your draft stock or to try to win any personal awards. You're coming here to win a national championship. And you can feel that that's the expectation. That's why Garrett Nussmeier returned with a purpose. That's why Wes Weeks returned. And guys who, you know, could have gone on with their lives decided to come back one more year for something special. And it feels like this is the year, and they're kind of all in on winning a national championship. And I think that he's set a really great standard. And I like covering and working with Brian Kelly. He's easy to work with. The players seem to like him, and he's a wonderful coach. He's the winningest coach in college football right now. So it's been a lot of fun to see the progress of LSU now into his 4th season.
Molly McGrath is with us. She'll be on the sideline for LSU in Florida Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. It is interesting to hear you say that, because there is this sort of national perception of Brian Kelly that seems to be negative. My only interactions with him have been since he's been the LSU coach, and I find him actually really pleasant to work with. So it's always interesting to get perspective of someone maybe who isn't around him day in, day out, week in and week out. If I flip it over on the other sideline, Molly, obviously you're covering LSU, but you're also covering Florida in this game as well. As you've done your prep with the Gators this week, I don't know if you've had a chance yet to talk to Billy Napier or their staff leading into this game. Do you get a sense of coming off the loss? Or let me ask it this way. What is the sense you get within Florida coming off the loss a week ago?
Yeah, so I'm about to meet with Billy Napier in a matter of minutes, like in an hour. But I've talked to a lot of their players. And like Tyreek Staff, one of their veteran D linemen, he's kind of a heart and soul of the team and of the defense. And after that loss to USF, he beat the coaches into the locker room, and he was the first voice that the team heard. He gave a speech to the team, and he basically said, I want you to hold on to this pain and work hard all week to never let this happen again. And Brian Kelly even said to us, we expect to see their best because they're coming off of that loss. It's going to be a different Florida team than the one we've seen the last 2 weeks that we're going to see in this game. And that was kind of a wake-up call for them. And the players also point to the fact that the game against LSU last season was a turning point for Florida, right? Because they beat LSU and then they beat Ole Miss back-to-back ranked wins, and it kind of turned around their season. It essentially saved Billy Napier's job. right? And so I think that they're looking at this as another thing that can be a turning point. Like, okay, we lost week 2, but everything we want is still in front of us. We can still accomplish what we want to accomplish. All we have to do is beat a number 3 LSU team at night in Death Valley, which is a tall task. But like I said, you never know what's going to happen in this rivalry. So I think that they've learned, and I think that they will be better after that loss to USF.
Molly, you said you had some Friday responsibilities over at Tiger Stadium as well. Can you kind of give a peek behind the curtain or to the listener or the viewer here about like what your responsibilities are on Friday before you go cover a game?
Fridays are crazy. They really are. Fridays are so busy. So in the morning, right before our meeting with Brian Kelly and his staff, their offensive and defensive coordinators and players and things like that, I did a quick hit that I sent in for our ESPN web people for one of our shows, Vibe Check. So I sent in a hit for Vibe Check, a 1-minute report, went in, met with Brian Kelly and his staff, and then after that went straight over to the stadium where I did a live talk back with SportsCenter, the 2 o'clock SportsCenter. And then from there went on to Paul Feinbaum's set because SEC Nation and Paul Feinbaum and everything in our SEC universe is here this weekend.
Right.
And then came back, and now I'm talking to you, and I'm going to crunch some more prep and then go meet with Billy Napier and his staff in about an hour. So it's Fridays are busy. They're nonstop. But once you get that momentum and the ball rolling, and you know this too as a broadcaster, once you're on TV, just being on TV or being on the air just gets easier because you just keep going with it. You're too busy to even think about it. So I like how busy I am on Fridays. But it's a busy weekend. And then, you know, there will be a bunch of responsibilities in the morning and the afternoon tomorrow. And then the game kicks off and you just keep it rolling, just keep that momentum going. It's a lot of fun.
Before you go, I know you kind of had you had double duty the opening weekend where you had LSU Clemson and then went and did the Notre Dame Miami game as well. Look, you went to BC, I think people know, so you've got a lot of ACC tie-ins. I would love a thought from you on Clemson, who's got a massive one this weekend against Georgia Tech. You going to keep an eye on that one?
Absolutely. So I will admit, I went into this season saying that Clemson was my favorite to win a national championship. I think that they have the potential to be that good, all of the people that they have returning. And we didn't know what we would see week 1 with LSU. There were so many unknowns. And I asked Brian Kelly before the game, I said, you know, what about this team will surprise people? There's so many transfers, so many new pieces. And he said, I think it's going to surprise people how good we really are. Yeah. Like he knew he had something special. And then you saw what they were able to do to Clemson's offensive line and Cade Klubnik. And they didn't look like the national championship team that I predicted them to be. And I think that is a credit to how good LSU is this season. I think that Clemson still has what they want to accomplish in front of them. I think that they're still a playoff team. I just think that this is LSU's year. You know, if they don't make mistakes, if they keep their head down, if Garrett Nussmeier is able to elevate his play a little bit more, then I think that this is a year that LSU could be that team.
Molly, we got on the screen right now the photo of Shaq behind you on your report last year. I got great news, Molly, because your Eagles tomorrow are playing that noted ACC rivalry at Stanford, noted ACC to Stanford, and that's a 9:30 Central kick. You'll be done with all your LSU Florida responsibilities. You'll get to watch the second half of that game. How about that?
Lucky me, I can have a little post-game drink, watch my Eagles win. That is such a strange matchup, and it'll be a fun one with my family. My dad went to Stanford, so we'll be able to have a little back and forth there. Never did I think that we would have a little, ACC rivalry game to look forward to, but life and realignment is crazy.
Tell your dad if he doesn't pay attention to such thing, your Eagles are about a 2-touchdown favorite in that ball game. I think they're going to do just fine out there in Palo Alto. Molly McGrath, I know it's a busy day. Thanks for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.